Hello, everybody in TV land, all you embodied folk and disembodied folk who I hope are also listening in and checking this out today. Um, I want to say that I have a YouTube channel. It is Laura V. Ward Dash Movement Guide, and I offer tons and tons of free content on there. So, yes, I'm not certain how much longer I'll be in this dojo. So that is another option for you. And I also want to say that I have a PayPal and a Venmo and all the things. So if you feel like contributing to this content, you are able to do that. And I believe that that is actually somewhere in the dojo or in the studio near my name. There should be some options of how to do that. And I will put this in the room. Some of you already are supporting me and have supported me, and thank you for that. So we're going to start today just rubbing our hands together. It's really weird to do advertising in the middle of this, but at the same time, it seems to be the world we're living in right now. There's like this natural advertising that's happening all the time. And the other thing that I kind of wonder about is like, oh, here, we have our own TV show. You're in my TV show. We're all on TV together, right? It's interactive. It's not something where it could be interactive, depending on whether or not you choose to interact. Okay, so we've got the 10 little dragons. We've fired up the 10 little dragons. Let's take a big breath. Shake it out. I know some of my people in my room have come in with some extra energy. Inhale up and exhale. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. And one more inhale. Filling up with the good stuff, letting go of the other stuff. Oh, Georgina made it in. I'm so proud of you, Georgina. Technology. It's so great. Anyway, so there we go. Let's go back to those dragons. We're going to take the 10 little dragons and they're going to go for a run through the forest. Dragons running through the forest. And feel free to make some sounds as your dragons go for a run. So maybe this is the cave as those dragons are thundering around. Maybe, the sounds are coming out of the cave. Hey, Rachel, nice to see you. Tongue and jaw. Maybe there's like another dragon living in the mountain that wants to come out. So as these dragons are running around through the forest, maybe some other dragon is coming out. What's going on? What's happening? You can open your eyes wide. You can be all of the dragons, all 10 dragons, and then this dragon in your face coming out of the cave. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Yeah, let it go. So we are all, I'm sure, arriving with a lot of stuff. So we're just going to take this moment and we're going to, this is another one. This is something I learned as a child. You're going to take an egg, get your egg, put the egg right on top, maybe this way, either way, this way or this way. Put that egg right on top of your head. You're going to pretend that this is not you. It's somebody else. Somebody else is going to come along and boom, crack the egg. And the egg is going to spread and it's going to spread its way down your body. It's going to keep going all the way down to your feet, down to the floor. This is a very big egg. Squishing down into the floor, shake it out, and let's do it again. This time you can smash your own egg. Maybe try the other hand. Smash the egg. Let the egg break and just massage its way down your face, down your neck. This can be ugly and messy. All the way down to the floor. And let's do it 3 times. 3 times for luck. Can I do 2 eggs at the same time? No. I'm just going to go with 1 egg. Boom. Smash it. Crack. I can feel the egg coming down, the gloopy egg material. This time it's going to go more down the back of my body in this big hug, all the way down to the floor. And now that I've made it from the top to the bottom with the egg, I'm going to make it coming back up. So I'm just going to grab my foot, squishing it around, feeling into it. And as I'm touching my foot, I'm just going to thank my foot. Thank you, foot. Thank you for being there, supporting me. Oh, when I was little, I thought you were really ugly, and then I kind of got over it. So thank you, foot. I'm going to go from my foot through my calf, my shin, my ankle, my knee, up through my quad and hamstring, coming up the whole side of my body, all the way back up to my, oops, lost my earbud, all the way back up to my head. And now that was my left side of my body. I'm just going to keep giving that left side of my body a little bit more awakening, a little bit more touch and love. Feeling into that. So as I'm touching myself, I can feel what this hand is touching, and this side of my body can feel being touched. So there's this double layer of touch going on. And I can choose to focus on this feeling, or I can feel where it's coming together. How are those two parts of my body meeting each other? Just feeling into that. And it could be anywhere on your body. How is my leg meeting my hand? Is it shying away? Is it coming into my hand? Just paying attention to how we touch, right? It's not something we often, unless you've done massage school or something like that, or had some sensitivity in your hands touch training, maybe a fantastic lover, who knows, then most of us aren't thinking about that. So let's go with the other foot, starting at the bottom. Oh, there's some toes on the end of my foot. They are not unlike the 10 little dragons. Toes and fingers get a little dragon relationship. The 15 dragons now are wrestling around. Then we're going to bring it up. I'm going to bring it up. You can do it however you want. You can take as long as you want. Anywhere. For me, I particularly need some help in this front of my shin, tibialis anterior. Oh, it's all glued up in there. Hello, calf and shin. Thank you. Thank you, leg, for being a part of my body. I really appreciate you. Thank you, hamstring, for being so strong that I can hang on a pole. And now I really know that you're there because I can feel you. Same with coming in and around, whole body, giving it some love, that whole side of the body, and feeling into the touch that you're giving yourself and the touch that you're receiving, right? We get the chance to both give and receive at the exact same time. Breathing into that. Yeah, into the armpit, maybe around the boob, into the boob, even into the chest. Like, oh God, we're not supposed to touch those things. That's against the rules. Oh, yeah. So let's let that go for a second. Shake it all out. In the privacy of your own home, you can touch whatever you want. I give you total permission. Be completely inappropriate. I really do not mind. What is appropriate? What is inappropriate? How cultural is it? So now we're going to bring our awareness into these three big bony areas, our cranium, our rib cage, and our pelvis. And we're just going to allow those three areas. You can put your hands on them if you want to, and maybe it feels really good to hold some part. But what I want the focus to be on, what I'm going to offer, is that the focus is on the relationship between the three areas. So as I move my head and my rib cage, I can also feel my pelvis moving. I'm feeling the interconnected nature of those three big bony areas. And you could do this standing up. You could also do this laying on the floor. I'm going to get some water. Hydrate. As I hydrate my tissues in my body through movement and breathing, I'm hydrating with some water as well. So yeah, let's just keep playing with that for a few minutes. Letting these three areas interrelate. Maybe finding new relationships, finding new ways of relating to each other. Now that I've gotten to this point, I feel very warm. Yeah, my body has completely warmed up. You could also just face me instead of being on the tiny screen. Yeah, I have a friend, my very close friend, and I almost said concubine, and that's completely not true. My collaborator is really the true compadre, definitely not my concubine, but in this very silly mode right now, it sounds really funny to say concubine. All right, so let's talk about our diaphragm, right? So above I've got this rib cage, and then here I can feel the edge of my rib cage. Right underneath that is my diaphragm. That's the biggest breathing muscle. And if I breathe really deep into my body, The diaphragm descends down. It gives my organs a nice massage. So there's that happening. So as I'm moving my cranium, my rib cage, and my pelvis, I'm also getting this movement of my diaphragm. In my brain, I have some connective tissue that sort of separates. There's one coming through the center. It's, oh God. It's funny because as soon as I go into these spaces of being in the experience, my vocabulary just kind of falls away because these are very nonverbal exploration places. But, well, one of them is the tentorum cerebelli, or it might be the cerebelli tentorum. And basically, it's kind of splitting the upper and lower through. And it's like if we pull on our ears, we're pulling that tentorum cerebelli down, right? It's separating the two. If it's like a little visor inside our head. And then there's this one that's coming through the center also. It's some kind of dura. Then there's also the dura mater and the pia mater. And those are these big, like, I want to say like diaphragmatic, because they're very expansive sheaths of connective tissue, not unlike the diaphragm. Like they're sort of, this one's sort of in that, almost in the horizontal plane, although it's also tenting, so it's not completely flat horizontal, much as the diaphragm in here is kind of more on a diagonal. It's not flat horizontal. So thinking of the movement of these diaphragms, this one here in your brain, this one here in your under your lungs, your breathing, and then there's also the pelvic floor, right? And floor is such an unromantic name for the basin of the pelvis, but I don't have a better one for you now. So just letting yourself move with those three different areas. We could also think, and we've already been there, as the sole of our foot, this dome as a diaphragm, right in here of our instep, and also in our hand, this dome like a diaphragm. So I can move my hands like that. And if I'm thinking in terms of all these diaphragms, my head, my diaphragm, my pelvic floor, the sole of my foot, and my hand, there's this interrelated intelligence moving through them, right? So in our bodies, like something way over here can have a totally huge effect on something way over there. Or some kind of pull over here might be affecting something over here. So we are this system of biotensegrity, this like Buckminster Fuller stacked, popped together, full of water and lubrication body. And when we move, we're inviting that water, that biotensegrity to re-establish connection with itself, with each other, creating internal space, vast spaciousness inside our bodies. So let's just play with that. And for me now that I've gotten vast and spacious, I really don't want to sit anymore. I'm up for getting up. You may be in a different place here. And you could be, I want to lay down doing this. But now I personally am in this exploration of what it is to be in this body. Playing with those three big bony structures and the diaphragms. So I'm working like, and the fluidity, right? So I've got and the spaciousness. I like to think of the fascia as kind of like the internal space and form, because it's, how do we know what space is? Sometimes by what is in there, right? Like, oh, the form, the space inside my house, the space inside a cell, the space inside my body, the space between me and you, the interconnected, interwoven space of the interwebs of these classes, of these movements that we are transcending time, because some of you might be watching this back at another time. And even like some of the people in the room, it's at 8 p.m. for them, or 9 p.m. and here it's 3:30 or 4, right? So we're actually at different times. Even though it's all the same time, it's all one time, playing in the tissue with the space-time continuum, right? And in that, let's invite health into our cells. So let's invite like loving kindness and generosity for ourself, for our cells, cells, the little cells in our body. They're doing all the work in there on this tiny, tiny scale. They're bringing oxygen, they're bringing nourishment, they're taking away waste along with our lymphatic system, right? So they're detoxifying. And those cells in your body know how you feel about them. So maybe gentle. Gratitude. Like we said, thank you to the feet. Maybe we can thank the cells. They're doing their best. Maybe it's not perfect. Thank you, cells. And then since we're thanking the cells, let's thank the extracellular matrix. And that's all the fluid that is extra outside of the cell. It's also a lot of the stuff that's supporting the shape of the fascia, right? So if the fascia had no fluidity, it would, we'd be these little dry crusts, like a very dried out raisin that had sucked into itself. It's the water and the hydration in us that bolsters and fills up that space. So that is a lot, the extracellular matrix. And usually things are going back and forth between those places. So it's not just, this is how I am and this is always like this. It's more like, oh, now I'm going to go over here and do that. There are some things in our body that always only do one thing, but there are other things that are adapting. Yeah, let's shake it, shake it, shake it a little bit. Shake out whatever you got to get rid of. Maybe it's too much thinking. Letting out some sound. Letting your sound be spacious. And if you feel like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed to actually make sound, then make it a little more playful. Nobody cares unless you live in a house where somebody cares, because maybe they do. But find some freedom in your voice. And if you can't, if that's really too much, then find it without the vocal cords and just do just do the breath. Like we're casting spells of freedom around our bodies and inside our bodies. Getting rid of all the stuff that isn't supporting us. It might be things we think about ourselves. It might be things other people told us. It might be some yucky, sticky crap that happened, and you're like, ew, I just wish that wasn't in here. Just shake it out and laugh at it. Let it go. And if you're in a slower mode, do it slower. Can you shake in a slow, light way? How does a dandelion fluff shake? Yeah, so we can have these different dynamics of how it's possible to be in our body. So that was just a lot of upregulation that we did, that all that. And sometimes when we upregulate so much, it allows us to then downregulate. We can let go of that extra energy. And sometimes it just brings it up. If you're a very air person, clearly I'm a very air person. If I keep upregulating like that, it just gets a little too scattered. So I can slow it down. If I want to come back down to earth, all I got to do is go slower. Slow it down. Letting myself come in for a landing. Yeah, so we did start with those ideas of those big bones, right? Very earthy parts of our body. And when we move them in relationship with each other, we're adding this sort of bone earthy with water fluidity and relationship, right? So wateriness is often very interrelated, intermingling. And sometimes if we become too watery, we don't have boundaries. Here's the boundary. Sometimes we need to make the boundary. No. Yes. No. Yes. So you want me to do what? I'm sorry, I can't do that. Or you want me to do what? No, I don't do that. Yeah, so thinking about boundaries. Because because pretty much everyone I know struggles in some way. Whether the boundary is with yourself, sometimes it's like, I do not allow myself ever to do that thing. Or I have a hard time because I keep breaking my own boundary, right? So sometimes it's a relationship with the boundaries for yourself, and sometimes it's a relationship with boundaries with other people. Are you too rigid? Do you have too many boundaries and you need to soften them? Ha. Just breathing into it, letting yourself move in any way that feels good. Relax your tongue. Slow down and tell yourself everything is okay. Yeah, even if it's not, it is. So for me, coming really deeply into sensation in my body can be a tremendous relief for my airiness. I can come in, I can ground. I can bring myself into that parasympathetic rest and digest, soothe and settle. I can think of it kind of like coming down and spreading out. Breathing, just working with your own energy. What feels good to you? What feels good in you? So I've talked a lot about air and water and earth. Let's talk a little bit about the fire energy in your body. So fire can be very warm, passionate. It can also be the thing that it like shoots you in a direction and pops you through, right? We have too much fire, we burn our bridges. We have not enough fire, we never get to the bridge. Nothing happens, right? We need some fire to propel us forward. Sometimes fire comes in anger, like, I see red, But it can also be passion. It can also just be like the beat of our heart, right? The electrical part of our body, which is our nervous system and our heartbeat, right? Those things are interconnected. Is there a way to be in your fire that feels good, that feels nourishing? Because it can clear stuff out, right? Lots of clearing can happen with that fire. It's your spirit, right? Earth is my body, water is my blood, air is my breath, and fire is my spirit. Earth is my body, water is my blood, air is my breath, and fire is my spirit. Earth is my body, water is my blood, air is my breath, and fire is my spirit. Have to do it 3 times if you're going to get it right. Actually, that's a good rule for anything. For the tissue in our body, once we've done it 3 times, we've usually gotten far enough. So, like, use the 3 times rule. Like, if you're stretching, if you're strengthening, make sure you do it 3 times. Then your body gets it. Gives your body the chance to take it in. Yeah, a little. It's Beltane coming up pretty soon. So there was our Beltane witch song. Today is Earth Day. So we want to honor that. Yeah. And if you're feeling too stuck in yourself, get outside, go outside, lighten up. That's what I heard this great thing. Do you want to be enlightened? Lighten up. Number one, what do you got to do? It's not about grasping harder and working more. Unless that's fun and funny, right? Yeah, so we can also just go outside of ourselves. I can reach to the east, to the west, to the south, to the north, to the heavens, to the earth, and I can find that support just through that three-dimensional space, vertical, horizontal, sagittal, or the support of the east, the west, the south, the north, right? My ancestors came from the north. I got them behind me. They're in my DNA. They're living with me. Yeah, I think we're getting really close to the end of this time together. We are. Oh my goodness, look at that. So I am going to roll my little chair in. If you are people in TV land, please reach out to me personally and let me know that you're actually seeing this. Virginia's like, Laura, people are looking at your video. I'm like, really? Are they? Anyway, there are my wonderful people who come to my class, and I thank you and I love you. Maybe you brave souls, if you watch this on the replay, show up because I'm showing up. And that's the number one thing that you have to do in life. Show up if you want things that you are, like embodiment. Anyway, that is my everything for you. I'm going to stop recording and I'm going to hang out in the room with people who are here.